So when open text invoice solution for SAP, open text vendor invoice management for SAP solution is a leading invoice management and processing solution that fully integrates with the SAP. As it's just an add-on, implementation is very easy, and with just any basis can easily implement the. They doesn't need to do extra skill set for implementation of the VIM solution. There are other pieces which requires implementation that we'll talk about later. And it will come with the pre-configured rules, roles, and actions, which we talk about what it is and everything. The solution, you can quickly, with the standard pre-configured solution also, you can just go ahead and start using the solution easily as well. That optimizes and automates end-to-end process from receipt to posting of the invoice. Okay, so automation. Now let's talk about the VIM solution. As I was quickly giving some key inputs from the previous slides, that current SAP only reported or tracked after posting an invoice. Now, before process also it is done, and now VIM solution will come as a single point of tracking tool from ingestion to posting of the invoice, along with the payment of invoice tracking also can be done through this solution. Okay, which we'll talk about how it is done and everything in the later slides. So as I said, there is two pieces to the VIM solution. One is called Business Center and one is called VIM solution. So BCB come as a part of pre-packaged for the VIM solution, but BC solution or Business Center solution can also be used for different kind of documents like sales orders, delivery notes, and any custom document processes can also be utilized. So the solution comes and it comes right now. It's a raw format to, I would say, more like accelerator format, but there is a lot of configuration needs to be done if you want to utilize for other types of other business objects or other type of like sales order or delivery note. But our primary training would be only concentrated on the vendor invoices and how the VIM solution is going to work. Okay. I think we kind of probably covered a lot of points, but I'll try to read this slide and then we'll talk about that. Why is invoice management needed? Overview of SAP solution. As I said, there are a lot of multiple people involved from different departments to process one invoice, and this tool is going to help in collaborating, capturing information from different departments, and finally come to the accounts payable team for posting of the invoice or review of the invoice. Since a lot of people are involved, you can expect to distribute the said document to each person. One invoice can be I mean to say that load can be spread, like not the responsibility is also spread across between different teams. Example of buyer team, as I said, previous implementation, they are not responsible for posting up the invoice. Unless a accounts payable team calls him, he doesn't need to respond to anything or something like that, right? If the accounts payable, based on his experience, and he already know what needs to be done. But right now, if any inputs come, then the responsibility also shared, because the workflow or the work item is sitting with the buyer team. Until he responds, accounts payable team doesn't need to really worry about that. Okay, so that kind of a responsibility is spread across. From the buyer side, it would be only small thing that he just need to confirm or provide the input or something like that. Previously, one invoice can be copied and stored several times in most organizations. Like the way the invoice is getting into an organization, many vendors will send their invoices directly to their counterparties from the buyer teams, and buyer teams also will generally store the copy of it and then primarily send it for the accounts payable team, and accounts payable team are supposed to store the document. So with this solution coming in, it will be only one copy stored in the archive server or whatever the digital format where they want to store the invoice, and rest of the copies can be ignored because it's centralized storage mechanism. Okay. Without proper invoice management system, the overall cycles take too long and would require large amount of the manual activity. People even doesn't realize that so much manual activity generally is there in moving the invoices assume that there is a non-purchase order based invoice. If I have to say for an example of they have done a year-end party for the organization. Now the invoices for the party itself, there will be different pieces. Like one is from catering, one is from you'd say for the location and all those kind, and you have engaged some other services in the party. So all these 4 or 5 invoices, they have to go for different vendors, and then they have to uh, the invoices come at different points of time, and they have to take these invoices to say, as it's a party, generally it's an exceptional kind of scenario. There will be at least 2-3 levels of invoices, uh, levels of approvals, and cost can be again spread across different cost centers or different teams, depending on how they have decided. So these kind of manual activities will be really there, and those kind of can be avoided with the VIM implementation, and they can really understand, and it simply do the postings through the VIM solution. So approvals can is automatically recognized by the tool. It will automatically route it to the persons, different organizations. We'll talk about when we talk about the NPO approvals and all those things. But yeah, so that's how the manual activities will be reduced at large. Okay. And how we talked about in different perspectives. Now what are the problems on the different teams they have, and how the accounts payable team in general, now how the VIM solution is going to help you uh, improve the overall digitalization. Okay, so first thing is accelerate operations, which I already gave a few examples in the previous slides. I'll try to skip this point. Streamline document-centric SAP process through the enterprise to speed accounts payable process through invoice payment and all the steps. Boost productivity and revenue, as once you stop, team stops spending a lot of time on each invoice. Obviously, your productivity increases and revenue also increases. The revenue increase, there can be multiple ways you can say. One is time spent, one is discounts, so such kind of thing. Ensure compliance. Compliance, there are multiple way compliances are we can say. Uh, the compliances are taken care at each and every step. The compliance, we can say country specific compliances, or even say assume that each invoice, when they want to post like accounts payable team, they may have a checklist. What are all the things they are supposed to check? Assume that there is different kind of scenario which comes with it, and they may have a different kind of checklist. So that we can try to implement those checklists into the VIM solution, so that VIM solution will try to pre-check those things, and finally give a output. Hey, I was able to check in this checklist 5, and those 5 are cleared, and you need to look at the 2 things. So this kind of BIM solution will really improve the overall productivity as well as the compliance level as well. So you have a kind of a traffic light kind of system in the VIM solution, where what is checked and what is not checked. So that level compliance has improved. And fast results, as I said, the return on investment, or probably have to say the amount time spent on each invoice, will be reduced at large. That with fast result and optimize workflow. So as I said, there is a huge part of reporting. Any implementation what I have done, I would recommend there is something called central reporting. I will recommend the teams to revisit some key reports every 6 months once, to understand how their team is performing, and probably take action items out of the output of that key report, so that they will can improve their overall optimization and all these things. Okay, so this is how your win solution will provide the required benefits. Okay, so we talked about it, but it's a pictorial representation on how an actual invoice flows in any organization. There can be multiple vendor. This just pictorial format and representation on how an invoice flows in any organization. Some pieces may be relevant for some organizations, some may be optional. So depending on the invoice and the organization. Vendor can be sending their invoices through any format like Mac, fax, email, or physical email, or physically dropping the documents or something like that. So invoice can be coming initially. This is more like a physical invoice, a pictorial format. They will receive, distribute document, whom it has to go. Mailroom generally are they may be receiving a lot of emails, and part of the email, part of the posts, I have to say, maybe invoices. Identifying those invoices and routing to the right thing is one thing. So that is one thing. Uh, Mailroom job, so that will be reduced, and it will be going to the accounting document or invoice indexing, we have to say, or probably to reach the account department itself, it may take some time. Like it has to go to the purchasing team. Purchasing team has to forward, review the data, and verify the data, and forward it to the accounting department. As if I have to say, example of India. Uh, in India, the goods and invoices travel together in general. Okay, but different countries will have different concepts. Like goods receiving can be just done on based on a delivery note itself. They don't worry. But in India, your invoice copy comes along with a good. So that's a different kind of solution we have to provide in general. So accounting department has to do their goods receipt, and then they will be able to send the invoice to the accounting department. So such kind of different complexity will be there. And once it goes to the accounting department, they have to know if it is a purchase order based invoices. Generally, the cost where the cost should go will come from the purchase order. But if it is a non-purchase order, they should know where the cost has to be flown to, like a cost center or a work order, whatever it is, will WBS element or anything like that. And they have to go through with the different approvals, physical approvals or phone approvals or email approvals, everything. And then finally it will go back to the posting accounting department for posting and the invoice to the system. Okay, so some organization will digitalize that display, some organizations will digitalize at this point of time the physical copies and all those things. Some departments doesn't even digitalize, they just put a reference number or the FI document number generator on the actual invoice and archive the actual invoice. So different formats or organizations follow, or probably they may have an existing tool which they are trying to do. So we may be replacing that particular tool as well as a part of the VIM implementation. Okay. So this is a general, and now this is the slide from the VIM solution. Okay, and we will see on how the VIM solution is split across into multiple pieces, and each piece on how the different part of the VIM solution will handle it. Okay. So now what they have done is they have split the solution into 6-7 pieces here. So each piece or steps or in the VIM solution on how each piece of the solution will happen. So if you see from the previous slide, one is receiving and the transformation or verification, exception handling, approvals, and pay. So these are the general steps in any invoice digitalized solution will be there, and we'll see. And it is in the vertical thing. We have split across VIM solution has split like this. One is ingestion, is basically how the receiving of the invoice happen. Invoice recognition, or basically which we are talking about the transformation of the invoice into the SAP screens, and verification, a validation of the data and collaboration. It'll be called as verify and complete, and exceptional handling. Approval is basically invoice approvals and posting of the invoices happen. Generally, your VIM solution ends at the posting of the invoice, and payment is would be as is process in their existing framework, where they will be running their payment runs in the SAP to pay the vendors. Okay. Now we'll go and talk about each vertical line and how it solves that. First, the supplier. Supplier sending invoice can be in different formats. It can be an IDOC. If it is a, they can have a, especially in European countries, they are completely digitalized on how the invoices are translated in XML formats. And they can be IDOCs coming in, they can be PDFs, it can be Ariba or physical papers or email channel. So like this. They have a lot of things, and ingestion is and how your Vim solution is going to take the data. So it can be structured or unstructured. Unstructured, whether it's an electronic format, unstructured scanning, and once structured is basically the XML and data. We call it as structured because you know what field is what value and all. So whether it's a these are very easy for implementation, but we'll be primarily worried about the unstructured implementation and how it is. And once you receive the document or the physical copy, is immediately archived into an archiving solution from the Win perspective. This is again your architectural level discussion whether you want to use the archive server or you want to store the document in your SAP system itself. Uh, Generally, your architecture team will uh, recommend to use the archiving solution because your SAP license are also depending on the size of your database. Once you start storing your digital documents or the invoices in the SAP itself, your database size increases drastically. So your license cost will be impacted. So they will not recommend that, and they will use the archiving solution. If I have to just give an example, an average S/4HANA database will be like 5 to 10 GB and an average. And if you start importing invoices on average of say 2 MB of each invoice, can you take any PDF example, 1 MB, 2 MB, within 1,000 documents, 1 GB will be reached easily, right? So that's why you don't store your documents in your SAP system. So that's why we go for the archive server. Okay. And invoice recognition or data mapping. This is the transformation of your invoice or the product, either from XML or IDOC or PDF. That data is translated to your SAP screens. Here, there are two pieces to it. One is OCR. OCR is a general terminology, optical character recognition tools. And the product name from our open text is called Intelligent Capture for SAP. There are two names for this, which we can talk about anyway later. One is IC4S, one is called IES. IC, if you buy from SAP, it is called IC4S. If you buy it from OpenText, it is called as IES. Products are one the same, just where you bought it. So I'll be calling it as IC4S for the rest of the training. Okay. And this tool or the IC4S will data map and translate everything into the SAP screens and send to the VIM solution. And if I have to segregate this, these two, ingestion and invoice recognition, is taken care by the BC framework, and the rest of the steps are taken by the VIM solution. Okay, so there is a clear integration between your BC and the duties are really segregated. What BC will take care and what will take care. And once the VIM comes into the picture, this is where the data verification, whatever the OCR tool has translated your data from your invoice into the SAP screens, is verified by the VIM solution. There are multiple things here. It gives basic things, data verification, and there are again the data you need to verify against SAP system because they're like master data or transactional data, and you can raise exceptions. The collaboration and invoice posting, all these three can be taken care by your VIM solution, VIM piece, and the payment which will happen after the VIM solution ends. So, any quick questions on this slide you want to understand? And there is insight and control, which is like you are reporting. There are BC reports and as well as WIM reports. Okay. Okay. I'm moving on to the next slide. Sure. Is the same slide. I think it's a reporting slide. We can know. Yeah. So the key features of VIM. Okay. Out of the box scenarios, as I said, it can easily handle PO based scenarios and PO based scenarios, advanced payment and transport management scenarios. These are the 4 out of the box scenarios available for posting of the invoices. Direct access to all information, as I said, it's add on to your SAP system. Whenever the VIM trying to validate, it has access to all the database tables or the information of transactional data or master data, so it can easily validate or get the information. Automation and collaboration, I think I kind of talked about it. That workflows are generated, automatically sent, and collaboration is capturing information from different users, informing the users. All this can be easily achieved through the VIM solution. Okay, machine learning and AI. This is the new feature which is coming from the newer versions. There is something called one is the machine. I would say there are these features, but right now I would say, based on my experience, they're still limited or very few features are there. But there is a strong roadmap to improve this machine learning and AI capabilities. If I have to say that IC4S is a major revamp of the automation, we would say, built completely based on the machine learning capabilities. Even though we don't see the visual effects, but that was one of the big major redesign from the open text itself. And there are some features in the Wing solution which we'll talk about later on how AI capabilities are there. Pre-configured rules, roles, and action out of the box scenarios I talked about. So these are pre-configured, like for a purchase order based scenarios. There are already like 100 pre-configured rules. You can just configure them and reuse them. So overall, there are roughly 200 to 300 pre-configured rules which will come as a part of your product portfolio, and then you can utilize any of the rules and customize. ECM integration, as I said, ECM is another tool from the context itself, where the content manager, content management, where like you can easily maintain the life cycle, and all your invoices will be part of your archive server. So, which is, if you want to really do the integration and manage through the ECM solution, it can be easily done. It is just another add-on. You enable it, and you can just maintain the life cycle. Like say, all the invoices are posted in your system, and you have a legal legal obligation you want to maintain for 7 years. So after 7 years you want to archive or probably delete the digital copies of that invoices from your solution. Right now in SAP we don't have anything solution for deleting the digital copies. Generally we write custom programs and try to do it, deletion after a period of time or something like that. But archiving the data, transactional data and master data, that we have tools from the SAP, but not for the digital copies. So this is where ECM can help, or you can write your own custom programs to really manage all those things. Okay. In ECM, it's a just a scheduling of a bad job, how we do in production, where you can go and say, hey, anything created more than 7 years, you can just delete it and do that. Okay. So that's how the ECM integration is going to help in the web solution. Okay. It's the same thing what we showed, different representation. Integration, aggregation, AP operation across enterprise through integration with the SAP ERP. So as I said, as it gets access across all the transactional and master data, it's easy to integrate. Optimization, improve cash flows by streaming workflows, initiating reminders, shortening the payment cycle, and all those things can be really achieved. Automation, boost productivity and revenue by automating routing, approval, and payment process. So tool itself does all the routing for you. Majority of the routing either through for the approvers or to the different collaborative teams like tax experts or a buyer team or a service entry sheet creator or a coder. We'll talk about what's a coder in the later stage. Okay, and reporting. This is really, I love the reporting feature in VIM, because this very extensive reporting is provided, but not even 10-15% of the reporting is really utilized by many customers. So we have very few customers which they utilize and understand the reporting part from the VIM solution. Okay, I think how VIM resolves. So we talked about it. I'll just quickly run through the slide and then you try to take a break. Okay. How VIM resolves, improves efficiency, eliminates manual handoff between the systems, as I said, between the systems or the teams, increase transaction volume. So the volume can be increased, like the amount of postings can be done by the accounts payable team will reduce at large, reduce cycle time from receipt to payment. This is easily observed within the few months of the implementation of the tool. Eliminates rechecking of invoice data, filling time and time. So basically, the solution itself pre-checks lot of basic data. Like you don't want to check the unit of measure is correct or not, whether it is coming in kgs or tons, right? So other than that, there is a wrong printing, then system will try to identify. Otherwise, then accounts payable team person was supposed to check all those things as a part of say general check system. So such kind of basic checks it will do, and master data verification also it can do. So that can be, and it can also improvise or identify the tax code which it wants to solution. So you can either write automation there, or proposed by the system can be pre-implemented, all those things. Okay, lost files, that's a very big thing in any of the accounts payable organization. With digitalization, you will not lose any file. Remove AP from the manual problem invoice resolution and follow. Increase visibility, isolate performance bottlenecks. As I said, once you start using the reporting, you can understand which team has more load, and you can redistribute the load across the team so that it will improve the improvement. Increase accountability. Why this increase accountability? Because you are literally distributing your responsibility to different parties, and the workflow items will be there at a different team. You can easily check with whom the workflow item is. The buyer is not responding. The accounts payable team can just say, it's not with me. I'm waiting for the buyer team. And probably you can reach out, and the manager can reach out to the buyer asking, hey, can you please respond to that query so that this gets posted. That kind of accountability increases if the other teams are not responding. Invoice approval, workflow is traceable and auditable. This is very key for any audit. If any auditor comes, they generally come and randomly pick up some 10 to 20 invoices during their audit process and ask for the complete life cycle. Then previously without traceability, then they will just track all their emails, manual search, and they used to say, if there are any queries, they have to search all these things and then they have to provide the information. With this tool coming in here, they can easily come check the complete life cycle in the VIM tool itself. And generally, they don't even ask when the VIM tool is implemented with respect to life cycle or the data point. There may be some other audit queries different relating to some other thing, why this bank is used, or probably why this whatever it is, the audit different kinds of audit questions. But basic audit questions will be eliminated with approval workflow and everything. Provides tool for process management and measurement. As I said, it's reporting. This will really help in um, uh, help the management with a lot of tools on how they can improve their performance or measurement. Like if you say why a particular invoice taken so much time for posting, that can be easily tracked through this. And assume that if you want to track the performance, like how much time they are spending, why this team is only doing 10 invoices per day, and why the other team is not able to do 20 invoices per day. So such kind of level of measurements are also available in the central reporting, which we'll talk about later. Faster access to data, one tool to track, do reporting or tracking from end to end, from ingestion to posting of the invoice. So faster access to data. Previously, without VIM implementation, if anybody comes and asks, hey, how many invoices for this particular vendor in this company code are yet to be posted, you will not have, nobody will have an answer because nobody knows how many invoices are there. So with VIM, this is very easy. Improves internal controls, so standardized procedures. As I said, the checklist can be translated back to exceptions in the VIM solution. Support business continuity plan, disaster recovery. As SAP would have already have your SOX compliance and everything. So on the same part, the business continuity means basically if one of the servers fails, we may not post the invoices. So as we may add on, it will be part of your business continuity plan. There's nothing much you can do, and you doesn't need to really worry except the archive server. That will be part of your business continuity plan, how you want to manage the backup of your archive server in production, which that basis team will take care of that. Manage the business processes, people, procedures, activity. This tool is kind of bringing everything together into one platform so that you can manage everything. The impact of the implementation first is reduce cost, through better resource utilization. Paper will be eliminated, retention storage, labels. I mean, there are organization who stick label on each invoice so that it is traceable back. So that kind of mechanisms will go away. I mean, availability of resources, human resource means how many resources you want to manage. There are teams, I would say, they used to manage 1,000 invoices per month by 3 resources. After implementation of the tool, that level of automation can really help. Okay, vendor discount capture. This is one tool, one feature. Whether it depends on the organization whether what they want to improve. Okay, improves customer service, negotiation power, and reputation. Once implementation of this tool, uh, I mean, based on my experience, there are vendor interactions where 20% of the interactions would have been related to invoice statuses, where my invoice is, how much longer it will take for invoice, because vendors generally reach out to the purchasing team, not to the accounts payable team, or they may have to have call a central uh, phone number to understand their invoices.